Around 130,000 Georgians are estimated to have Alzheimer's disease or dementia-related issues. With that number expecting to grow in the next decade, how are Georgia police officers going to respond to calls involving Georgia residents with Alzheimer's? A bill passed in the House last week may answer that question.
The fate of the Say building remains uncertain because the Historic Preservation Commission unanimously voted to hold off on the permit to demolish the historic building.
These stories and more
on Grady Newsource tonight at 5.
This is Northeast Georgia's only local source for TV news. From the Grady College of the University of Georgia, this is Grady Newsource.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Gunter Schroeder.
And I'm Anna Shogren, and this is Grady Newsource.
The Red Cross's Sound the Alarm smoke detector program and how spring break affects local Athens residents. Stay tuned tonight to hear those updates.
Since the 1960s, the state of Georgia has prosecuted those who knowingly distribute harmful materials to minors. For decades, there's been one group that was exempt from that law. But if a bill that recently passed the Senate makes it through the entire General Assembly as
Apologies for those. We're having some technical difficulties. We'll begin our story tonight with 1 year. 40% of children in foster care in one Northeast Georgia county were there because of physical abuse, and that's higher, significantly higher, in fact, than the state average of 10%. And that's one reason a program aimed to provide a voice for foster children has expanded now and covers Madison County. Eddie Newbert explains.
With, providing stability, permanency, consistency with the children as they are in foster care.
That's the mission of CASA. The people in this office train volunteers who advocate for the children inside Clark and Oconee County.
When kids are taken care of and supported, they have a different trajectory than kids who are not.
And that's what a CASA volunteer does. For the last several years, only 4 counties were included in Northeast Georgia CASA, but now Madison and others are a part of it. What a CASA volunteer will do is spend 10 to 20 hours per month on their case, provide a voice for children who have been abused or neglected, and be able to effectively communicate orally and in writing. A local mental health specialist supports the idea of CASA and says that being able to build that relationship is important.
Any kind of stable support is going to be really important for foster kids.
This expansion into Madison County is huge, and Myra Boland says that there's always room for growth and there will always be a need for it.
I think that there will always be a need. I don't think there will ever come a time where there's not.
Grady Newsource, I'm Eddie Newbert.
According to a study done by Johns Hopkins University in 2022, each day an average of 132 people died from gun violence. 1 death every 11 minutes. If it happened to you, would you know what to do? Next Tuesday, March 18th, people in Jackson County will have a chance to learn that. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is hosting an active shooter preparedness awareness event at the Jefferson Church. Reporter Ion Bakley is live with me in the studio with the details.
It's difficult to forget this, September 4th, when a gunman took 4 lives in a school shooting at Appalachia High School. Messages of hope from students from On the Wall, bringing a community together, signs and messages with the love and prevail. Since then, we've seen a move for people to prepare for such horrific events. Lieutenant Michael Boatwright with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office also has a 3-word model that he uses to teach people: avoid, deny, and defend. And it worked for one organization that he taught.
They used the plan, right, and was able to lock down the organization and followed the steps, and it worked out well because by the time that responders got there, they were able to isolate the individual.
Yeah, well, that definitely sounds like an interesting program. So what does avoid, deny, and defend mean exactly?
So let me walk you and our audience through these points. So basically, first up, avoid. Don't deny what you're hearing. It is not time to go TikTok famous. Trust your spidey senses, don't fight against it, and look for your nearest exit. Second up, we have deny. When denying entry, try looking for discreet places, preferably with a door. If the door doesn't have a lock, use your surroundings to barricade it. Boatwright gave a great example of how students and teachers at Sandy Hook barricaded doors with their surroundings, and once that threat was neutralized, it took law enforcement 20 minutes to get through. Third is defend. Note, when it comes to defending yourself, here's what Boatwright had to say.
If you can't hide or deny entry into your location, then you're going to have to fight as if your life depends on it.
Is to make it out safely. Knowing a plan and knowing your surroundings could help save your life.
One local organization is supporting survivors of sexual assault and working to reduce the stigma surrounding it. The What They Were Wearing fashion show is happening on March 27th, bringing spring fashion and a powerful cause together. Reporter Holly Kate O'Brien tells us more.
This may look like a regular fashion show with models strutting their spring line fashion.
But really, this is the What They Were Wearing fashion show hosted by the Athens-Clarke County Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners Program, raising funds for sexual assault survivors and reducing the stigma of sexual assault in general.
Last year, models brought their own personalities to the runway, turning the event into something bigger than anyone expected.
We had a transition where they were really putting their personalities into it, and they were bantering on social media and having percentage nights.
This year, the event takes place at South Main Brewing on March 27th, with local boutiques sponsoring and providing the fashion for the models to wear on the runway. Holly Kate O'Brien, Grady Newsource.
That was reporter Holly Kate O'Brien. Thanks, Holly Kate. Here's someone to celebrate in Georgia. Meet Laura Etheridge, the State School Social Worker of the Year for Georgia. The School Social Workers Association of Georgia gave her the award for her efforts in Barrow County schools, where she advocates ferociously for students and families facing language barriers and cultural challenges. With a background as a bilingual medical and school social worker, her work includes coordinating the Feeding Barrow program and addressing human trafficking policies. A proud double dog from the University of Georgia, Etheridge is currently a doctoral candidate at the University of Kentucky, specializing in trauma-informed schools.
Thanks, Anna. Public safety and transportation issues due to population growth. Today, Oconee County leaders met to talk about these issues and others. Grady Newsource reporter Aaron Pagenkopf was there and has this report.
Chairman John Daniel spoke on a topic that's been fresh in people's minds since September 4th, the day of the Appalachia High School shooting. Oconee County's plan, hiring more school resource officers.
Sheriff Bell was able to begin recruitment with the passage of the agreement, and the last count was 5 deputies already assigned. In that short amount of time, he's been able to recruit 5 new deputies to take those place of those that are moving into the schools.
Another hot topic, transportation. Construction plans start this year on Oconee Connector 316.
Just be ready and start making your plans now on how you're going to avoid certain areas at certain times. Last word we got was the flyover at Burger Lane will be the first part of the construction project. At some point, Oconee Connector 316 will close for up to 45 days.
The goal of the meeting is to get the community involved in tackling these key issues.
The more engagement we have, the better decisions we make, the more productive we become, and the more innovative we become.
Aaron joins us live now in the studio to give us some more details about the project. Aaron?
Thanks, Gunther. More details from Chairman Daniel's speech. The county's total budget was set just under $40.1 million, with nearly $12 million going into law enforcement. 7 new full-time employees were hired for the county government. And this reminder, just as you heard, start making plans as construction will start sometime this year, causing Oconee Connector 316 to close for about 45 days.
Thanks, Aaron, for that update. When we come back from the break, reporter Blake Cavanis will be live from Jackson County with information on the new City Hall complex and Civic Center.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase.
Good job, guys.
Breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
The Dutch. Thank you.
Study, please. I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
You're home before sunrise. On top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. In about a month, people in one Northeast Georgia town will have a one-stop shop for city business. Our reporter Blake Cavanis is live in Jackson County with more.
If you wanted to start a business in Commerce, you would have to go to the utilities office, to the city hall, to a couple other buildings, all spaced out throughout town. That all changes now. Yesterday, there was a grand opening ceremony for the new Civic Center and City Hall complex. And over the next month, each department will slowly make its transition to the new building behind me.
Started at First National Bank of Commerce, which is on the corner, and I was a teller.
At that job, Natalie Thomas has seen the changes here.
And so every Friday, we would close at 2 o'clock, balance our drawers, reopen from 4 to 6. And that's when the plant employees came in and cashed their checks. So there would be 1,500, 2,000 people from 4 o'clock till 6 o'clock cashing checks.
But that crowded scene would eventually disappear.
It happened where manufacturing left the United States and went overseas. When that happened, our downtown dried up.
Today, Thomas has a new job, and her love for the past continues to inspire her. As the director of the Main Street, she is determined Commerce won't be a ghost town.
And then over the past 10 years, when I first came in this position, we had 41 buildings downtown that were empty. We now have 5.
This building was the old Bluebell Jeans Factory, opened in 1904.
Well, the building itself was in terrible disrepair. A lot of the operating systems of the building were over 120 years old.
Despite the state it was in, preserving as much of the building was a priority.
I've had several people come through tonight who have said, you know, I worked here as a teenager, and I remember this, and oh, you kept the holes in the floor. You know, I know it means something to the community, and that means something to us.
In a month, this building will be part venue space and part City Hall.
Moving City Hall, moving the department heads here is really kind of moving the heartbeat of the downtown.
Paying homage to the citizens of the past while being used by the city now.
Over the years, literally thousands of people have worked in this building and earned their living to make a life for themselves. And, you know, a lot of people were sad to see it change, but we wanted to see people come and enjoy the building and see that it's changing for the better. It's actually come back to life.
The venue space is looking for people to book up their calendar. And if you're trying to reach a department over the next month while this transition is going on, you can go to the commercega.gov website to see where they are. But they should be wrapping up in to the end of March, and they should all be moved in. There's already a couple cars parked here, so they've already started working. Back to you in the studio.
That was Blake Cavanis live in Jackson County. Thanks, Blake. A historic piece of downtown Athens may soon be gone. The Say building, which has stood for over a century, is not at the center of a debate.
Yeah, some people are arguing for its preservation, while others say it's time to move on and make way for new development. DeAndre Harris takes a closer look at both sides of the controversy here.
Driving past Hancock and Lumpkin, and there it sits.
A lot of really important cultural and educational institutions. It housed the Athens Business College for a number of years. It also housed several automobile repair shops, garages. The Red and Black's offices were there. So it's definitely had a legacy in downtown Athens. And so for us, it's really important for us to preserve its position in our downtown historic district.
Prevention advocates like Denise Santa say this building is more than just bricks and mortar. It's a symbol of Athens' history. Now its future hangs in the balance as a historic church pushes for demolition.
Our church leadership decided that the best thing that we could do for the property is to demolish it.
Amy Lawson is the senior minister at Athens First United Methodist Church, owned the building for nearly 20 years and has been well used.
And between there were a couple things that we discovered that made rehabilitating the facility an impossibility from a financial stewardship standpoint. One of them is asbestos, but then there's just some other structural issues.
For now, the fate of the Say building remains uncertain because the Historic Preservation Commission unanimously voted to hold off on the permit to demolish the historic building for 60 days to allow for the Historic Preservation Commission process to play out. Final decision on the fate of the Say building rests with the mayor and the Historic Preservation Commission. DeAndre Harris, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, DeAndre, for that story. Alzheimer's disease is affecting almost 130,000 Georgians, and now the Georgia House is working to create a training course on how to handle incidents involving residents with Alzheimer's.
Grady Newsource reporter Shelby Watson has more on the proposed bill for police officers.
Short-term memory loss, lost and wandering through the street, forgetting the names of your grandchildren. It sounds like a nightmare. For people living with Alzheimer's disease, it's life.
Well, when I first found out a good friend of mine had it, it was rather heartbreaking because it was like they didn't remember me anymore.
Mullen's experience isn't unique. About 130,000 Georgians have Alzheimer's disease or related dementia. You may find yourself in a position to know or care for someone with the ailment because that number is going up. It is expected to rise to around 190,000 people, a 46% increase in just 10 years. Candace Hardy knows all about that. She's enthused about her work with the people who come to the Barrow County Senior Center to socialize and just have fun.
I like the friendship. I like everybody here. You know, we play games, we do things.
But she's also had some heartache. She knows those stories about Alzheimer's all too well.
We see it often here, of course, and also my grandmother has dementia as well. So it's really hard to see the decline. Sometimes it can be slow, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's very fast.
Last week, the Georgia House passed a bill that would require the Georgia Peace Officer Standards and Training Council to create a special training program so police know how to respond to people with Alzheimer's disease or dementia who may be lost or in trouble.
The bill passed the Georgia House with 171 yeas and 0 nays. It will now move to the Senate to be voted on, which, if it passes, will move on to Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to be signed into law later this session.
I'm Shelby Watson, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Shelby. After the break, Gunter will tell us more about Georgia basketball's first round game in the SEC tournament and star freshman Asa Newell's draft stock as a potential NBA pro. We'll be right back.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually, once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. Georgia basketball heads into their conference tournament on a winning streak and confident in their chances to make noise in March. Gunter Schroeder has more on the team's upcoming postseason and the NBA potential of the team's star freshman, Asa Newell.
Thanks, Anna. It's SEC tournament time for Georgia men's basketball as the team has arrived in Nashville as the 11 seed to face 14 seed Oklahoma in the first round tonight at 9:30 p.m. The Bulldogs took the first meeting between the two 72-62 back in January at Stegman Coliseum, but there's much more at stake this time around. The team is on the brink of clinching their first NCAA tournament berth since 2015, and a run in the SEC tournament could confirm their place in the field. Even as the number 11 seed in the conference, Georgia seems to have as good a chance as anybody in the historically deep SEC to make a run this week, but head coach Mike White said his focus has been on keeping everyone around the team in the mindset that every moment of the season is the most important.
Every one of these games is the Super Bowl. Buffalo at home was the Super Bowl for us. Yesterday's practice was. It's about Oklahoma. That's it.
Like some of them guys said, it definitely is kind of an AAU type of setup, playing one game every day. But I definitely do think it's kind of an advantage for us because, like I said, we started flowing at the right time. I feel like guys are confident in themselves as they need to be.
But there's likely more big picture things than just postseason play on Asa Newell's mind. It's likely the only time the freshman forward will be playing in the SEC tournament. He's averaged over 15 points per game, was named to the conference's all-freshman team on Monday, and has been tabbed by many online outlets as a potential NBA lottery pick. And in many ways, he's already adopted the mental mindset of an NBA player. He's even taking that approach into a tournament where Georgia could play 5 consecutive days if they keep advancing.
5 games in 5 days is going to be extremely tough. We have to take care of our bodies and especially our minds because the mentality or the mental side of basketball is extremely important. And, we just all have to be professionals.
With Newell facing off tonight against another member of the all-freshman team in Oklahoma's Jeremiah Sears, Georgia could clinch a tournament berth tonight with a win.
Thanks, Gunter. There's definitely history brewing for UGA basketball this year. Stick around after the break. I'll have your 5-day forecast.
In their 40s and 50s, why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woo-hoo. Gnarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
My Shiro doesn't always wear a cape, but she always has time for a hug, a smile, for going the extra mile. My Shiro stretches every dollar, puts in long hours, puts others first. But now it's your time, Mom. When you're ready to retire, we want you to be able to enjoy it. It's time to start saving now. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to start boosting your retirement savings today. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Good evening. Let's take a look at your 5-day forecast. Today is bright and sunny with a high of 76 and a low of 48. A perfect day to be outside. Moving into Thursday, expect partly sunny skies with temperatures reaching 73 and dropping to 51 overnight. Friday brings similar conditions, partly sunny with a high of 74 and a low of 57. By the weekend, Saturday brings some showers with a high of 77 and a low of 60, so keep that umbrella on hand. And Sunday, more rain is in the forecast, cooling things down to 74 degrees during the day and a chilly 42 at night. That's your 5-day outlook. Stay prepared and enjoy the week ahead. After the break, reporter Jack Keys has a story on youth entrepreneurship and how Madison County is fostering a competitive community for young business owners.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
You're home before sunrise, on top of the house, the kids, and our future. The smell of your cooking is our alarm clock. My Shiro's day is never done. So let's start saving a little more now so we can feel prepared for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give us the personalized tips we need so we can live our lives to the fullest. Visit aceyourretirement.org.
Julie was always a voracious reader. She'd carry 2 novels on an airplane because she'd read one on a 3-4 hour ride. And at some point, I began to notice that she would read a page and couldn't remember what she had just read, and she'd have to go back and read it again.
I don't remember much these days after I read, but less does for me, and I love it.
Hey world, I have a quick message. It's about safe driving. All right, let's go. Anytime you're driving, have the seatbelt buckled tight. Both hands on the wheel and your phone out of sight. When not in your hand trying to text somebody back. Because if you do, your car might get smacked. The moral of the story, just put your phone down. The people on the road will stay safe and sound. Put your phone down, put your phone down. People on the road will stay safe and sound. Yeah.
Welcome back to Grady Newsource. The Madison County Chamber of Commerce hosted its local flex competition, where young entrepreneurs presented their business models in the hopes of taking home major cash and earning a spot in the state finals. Grady Newsource reporter Jack Keys has the story.
Take our microfiber mop, and I'm just going to pretend it's a window.
For these students from Madison County High School, the stakes are high.
Practiced my pitch several times. Just driving here this morning, I was in the car talking to myself, trying to get everything started going good.
And while thousands of dollars of prize money are on the line, these young entrepreneurs already have much to celebrate, owning full-fledged businesses.
Really, anyone that's got a dirty window, we can clean it.
Junior Elijah Neal is the owner of CE Window Cleaning. Neal made $4,500 polishing glass last year. He plans to reach $10,000 in sales this summer.
So some of our marketing strategies, obviously, Instagram, Facebook, I'd like to use that a lot.
He pitched his business to a panel of 6 judges, going head-to-head against peers and fellow teen entrepreneurs.
They're doing honors classes, AP classes, they work, they're in sports, extracurriculars, and somehow have found time to run their business in real time, and it's really just remarkable.
Westlyn Epps owns a custom logo service that provides everything from mugs to pillows.
But also, I want to encourage returning customers to come back to me.
And the duo of Arthur Ayotte and Graylin LaBarbera kickstarted a clothing company inspired by gospel verses.
So this is just what we're going to go over today. Number one, who we are, just some stories about us.
The 3 pitches that made the final round of judging were narrowed down from a field of 12. The winner taking home $2,500 of prize money and a place in the Georgia Flex State competition. After much deliberation from the panel, Neil took the grand prize.
I'm gonna be a wealthy young individual after this, after I can invest it back into the company. So.
Jack Keys, Grady Newsource.
Thanks, Jack. That's all we have for you tonight. Thanks for watching. I'm Gunter Schroeder.
And I'm Anna Sjogren. This has been Grady Newsource. We'll see you next week.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move, so I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
I think I finally found.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Mason.
Hey, Mason.
Got a new house. It's looking pretty cool so far.
A place that I call home.
I'm teaching Louise how to cook some lasagna.
It only takes a spark to make a fire start.
Thank you.
Study, please.
I think I finally found a place to make my own. A place that I call home. This place that I call home.
Hey everybody, we're live. Thank you so much for all your hard work today. You had some really powerful moments in this cast, and you had some really great opportunities to learn from one another. So we're gonna do something a little different today because you guys are at a level of competency where it's time to level up, okay? So to do that, we're gonna learn from each other here. So if you'll go ahead and cue us up to the beginning of the newscast, and we're gonna go ahead and first look at the pre-show tease. So the pre-show teases, you guys are doing a wonderful job getting these in. The last time I taught Newsource, I don't think we got them in until the end of the semester. So I'm very happy to see that you all are making a habit of this. I'm still hearing your producers and stuff say, hey, I want one from you, you, and you. Let me just share with you, when you go to work in a news organization, you're gonna be competing against other people. You're gonna be competing to get your contract renewed or to be promoted to anchor or whatever it is you wanna do. If you want to compete and you want to win, then you got to do these things without being asked. And you have to do them really well. So moving forward, if you're on the air, you've got to have a pre-show tease. Okay? Go ahead and make that part of your workflow. If you think about it, in a competitive world, and also in a world where you have worked hard on your story all day, you want to promote it, and you want people to stay around and watch it. So if you think about it, your job with that pre-show tease is to make it, are we queued up to the pre-show? To the pre-show teases? Your job with those pre-shows is to make people want to stay and watch your story. Now, some of your pre-show teases are way too long. A couple of them, I'm not sure I need to stay and watch your story because you kind of told me the whole story, so hey, I can go do something else. Be mindful of that. Also, give me a reason to keep watching. So let's take a look. And is this the beginning of them? Yeah. Okay.
130,000 Georgians are estimated to have Alzheimer's disease or dementia-related issues. With that number expected to grow in the next decade, how are Georgia police officers going to respond to calls involving Georgia residents with Alzheimer's? A bill passed in the House last week may answer that.
Okay.
The fate of the Sado team remains uncertain because the Historic Preservation Commission unanimously voted to hold off on the permit to demolish a historic building. These stories and more.
Okay, let's pause. All right. What do we know? Yes? Way too long, and there's only 2.
Yeah, I was going to, in the producer's defense.
No, we don't need to defend anybody. It's all good.
We didn't do our job.
Yeah, I didn't get any pre-show teases.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So there we go. You guys got to do it. Period. End of story. If you don't do it, expect when you go out in the working world for somebody to get your job. Okay? Because for a couple of reasons. Number one, who's going to get to stay and watch your story? Eddie, you had a very important story today. Your story mattered. Your story is one of those life and death stories. We needed to, know about it. They got to be shorter. You have an issue with the video on yours. Okay? I'm going to need to see pre-show teases too. Go back and play Shelby's one more time.
Around 130,000 Georgians are estimated to have Alzheimer's disease or dementia-related issues, with that number expected to grow in the next decade. How are Georgia police officers going to respond to calls involving Georgia residents?
Okay. Let's move on to the first story. Okay? Every little frame matters. Every little frame. Okay, so when we do our pre-show teases, we're going to do 2 things that we just talked about. What are those 2 things? Everybody's going to do one, and they're going to have 2 things. What are they going to be? Short. Short, sweet, to the point, and they're not going to give away the whole story. They're going to compel us to watch. Always give people information. Don't tease people. Have more respect for our viewers than that. But give them a reason to stay and watch. Tell us remember how we talk about why should anybody care? You hear me talk all the time about what's the value proposition. Tell us the value proposition of the story. Okay? Make sense? All right. The value proposition in Shelby's stories is there may soon be help with a new law to make sure we can take care of people as the population of people with dementia grows. Find out about that help when we come back. Make sense? All righty. Let's go to Eddie's story. Let's listen to the lead real quick. I want to talk about the anchors here. Let's go all the way back to the beginning.
Tonight to hear those updates.
Since the 1960s, the state of Georgia has prosecuted those
Okay.
who knowingly distribute harmful materials to minors.
I'm sorry.
There's been one group.
Pause. Do you know the difference between anchor and reporter salaries? Do you know why you guys get paid the big bucks? It's to know what you're talking about. Did y'all look at your scripts beforehand? Yeah. Did you know that wasn't what you were supposed to be reading? I did. Egads. Listen, I'm not going to dog you because this was your first time. The reason we're talking about it, y'all, is this is any one of you. And heaven help me, I had an anchor who'd been anchoring 25 years who called himself, they rolled the prompter ahead and he called himself by his co-anchor's name. He was so checked out, he didn't even say his own name. He was that prompter reliant. Prompter reliance is deadly. Let's watch it. Sorry, but we get to see how deadly.
But the bill that recently passed the Senate makes it through the entire General Assembly as...
Oh, crap. Oh, dear.
Apologies for those. We're having some technical difficulties.
Holy crap, where's script? Okay. Listen, this is happening. Oh, settle down. Hannah's like, God.
Because it's a hard watch. I mean, I knew right away.
Sure, it's a hard watch, but you know what? You're not going to remember it a year from now. You're probably not going to remember it 2 weeks from now. But a little tiny scar will burn in your heart forever. And in ours. I remember every blooper I did, okay? And mine were worse. I promise you. Thankfully, they don't exist because things didn't exist forever. But here's the deal. Every one of you needs to pay attention to this. So, what might you have done that could have saved you? To earn those big bucks, what could you have done?
Read the script a little, at least the intro part, a little bit more, and then as you go, maybe during each package, you have a little bit of time where you look over the next story before it comes back to you.
Okay. Anna? Yeah, that'll take some time.
I was about to say, and that's what we talked about on Monday, but then I was like, I don't know what to do.
Well, preparation prevents panic. But if you're doing something for the second time in your entire life, we can't go over every single preparation thing. That's what makes this class so dang valuable, okay? Because you get those experiences, and yeah, they're humbling, and yeah, they're hard, but you know what? You just taught a lesson to a bunch of people here who haven't had their moment in anchoring, and I guarantee you, you know how I always say, make sure you have printed scripts. Now, a lot of you that are prompter reliant, you know, Holly Kate was always arguing, I need the prompter out here. No, you don't. You're talented. You know your stories. You always do. 3 bullet points is fine. Reporters, you've got to get your stuff in early. It's not just about me proofing it. It's so you don't throw them to the wolves. If they haven't had time to look at your stuff, to go over their scripts, they should have time to go to the bathroom and read them out loud in front of a mirror so that they can have the proper tone, pitch, rhythm, and cadence. And the best anchors, which you all will be able to do with experience, will say, that's not the right story. Our prompter's out of whack today, but that's okay. Our top story tonight is coming from Eddie Newbert. And if you've read it, you know our top story tonight's coming from Eddie Newbert. It's about a program called CASA. CASA is a program that helps and supports foster children. The big news today is it's now moving into Madison County, because in Madison County, there's some pretty tough numbers where more children than the state average actually go into foster care because they were abused. Eddie Newbert shows you how they're being helped. If you read it, you're smart. I mean, my old brain can remember that little. You can remember and you can save it. And that's why we hire power anchors and pay them big bucks. It's like a firefighter. We don't pay them because they're sitting around cooking good stuff, you know, when there are no fires. We're paying for them to risk their lives when there is. Make sense? So everybody have your scripts beside you. Reporter, everybody let's get our stuff in so that they can go over the lead, so that they have time to go to the bathroom, breathe, look in a mirror, practice, and know their stuff, okay? So you guys recovered just fine. Don't do ostrich syndrome, which is like, nobody can see me because I can't see them. They don't see my little hand sneaking. Just go, I know, but you're like, why? Why? Do you think people honestly believe you know that stuff? Oh, come on. They don't, you know what you should say? You should. Yeah, no. In fact, that's so disingenuous. People know. They know that you're not some stone cold genius that memorized all this stuff. So what you do is you go, hold on, I need to get our prompter isn't working, I need to get my scripts. I've gone over Eddie's story, but let me be sure I get this accurate, because these are facts and figures about children that are in the foster care program. Who is going to punish you for that? You're a rock star if you do that, because you're honest and transparent. If you do this, it's like the ostrich. No one can see me, my head's in there, okay? So everybody pay attention to that. Have your scripts with you, okay? And have them in front of you and be ready. All righty. Let's move on to Eddie's package. And can we see the lead in? I'm sorry.
Because of physical abuse, and that's higher, significantly higher, in fact, than the state average of 10%. And that's one reason a program aimed to provide a voice for foster children has expanded now and covers Madison County. Eddie Newbert explains.
With, providing stability, permanency, consistency with the children as they are in foster care.
That's the mission of CASA. The people in this office.
Okay, pause.
Who advocate.
Watch the rhythm of your editing. Play that little piece again. That's the mission of CASA. It's okay.
CASA. The people in this office train volunteers.
Consistency.
Yeah, so you want it, that's the mission of CASA. For each sentence, stay on the shot. Don't edit in the middle of a sentence, okay? All right, keep going.
Inside Clark and Oconee County.
When kids are taken care of and supported, they have a different trajectory than kids who are not.
And that's what a CASA volunteer.
Pause.
For the last.
Okay, right to your video. What were those things on the wall? Mhm.
There are counties that the kids were from, but they weren't.
Okay. Why didn't you talk about that? You guys work really hard, and it makes you late when you try to write stuff, but you don't pause and go, what video do I have? Now, Eddie was dealing with a really, really, really tough topic. It's minors. It's abuse. He's not getting cover video. So he's got to be extra creative. You've got to use what's in that office. You've got to use graphics and maps. And in the future, when y'all have finished your work, you're a team. I like to have as much fun as anybody else. I'm just good time Dode, right? Not when we've got a cast on the air and other people need help. When other people are in it, whether it's a producer or a reporter or something, they don't have time to go, can somebody help me please? By the time they're doing that, their hair's on fire and they're not making it. So it's your job. If you got your stuff done, yay you, no good deed goes unpunished. Ask if you can help. Today, Kristen was able to make graphics for Eddie. I don't think he would have made it if she had not done that. But Eddie was not in a place to ask her because he's just burning it up. But Eddie, if you'd have written to your video, would have been a lot easier. What might he have written? If that has all the counties, instead of making a map, what could you have said there? Instead of taking the time to make a map.
Well, that was the counties at a different, it was at the app.
That's fine. What could you have written?
I could have said children from many different counties get support from.
Counties all over the state of Georgia have CASA volunteers. In the Northeast area, Madison's now part. Work with what you have, okay? Pay real close attention to that. Okay, keep going.
For years, only 4 counties were included in Northeast Georgia CASA, but now Madison and others are part of it. What a CASA volunteer will do is spend 10
Okay, pause. When you guys do these graphics, what am I looking at? Yeah, what's this? I haven't heard the story. I've just walked into the living room. I've got some Cheetos. And I go, what's this about? Why do I not know what that's about? There's no heading. Moving forward, I don't want to see a graphic with no heading. None, zero, zip. Y'all are not amateurs. Move along. Okay? Every graphic has a heading. Tell people what you're looking at. Keep going.
Promote on their case, provide a voice for children who have been abused or neglected, and be able to effectively communicate orally and in writing. A local mental health specialist supports the idea of CASA and says that being able to build that relationship is important.
Any kind of
What was that video we saw? What was that silly putty stuff?
Toys.
Why does she have toys in her office? Is she lazy? Sit around and play with toys?
Yeah.
Really, why does she have toys there?
She's a child.
She is. She is. These toys give us a hint of what's her name?
I don't remember, but she's a child.
Okay. These toys give us a hint of what Jane Doe does for a living. She counsels children with use your video, use your video, use your video. Because when that stuff just comes up and it's unrelated, we don't know what it is. Keep going.
any kind of stable support is going to be really important for foster kids.
This expansion into Madison County is huge, and Myra Boland says that there's always room for growth, and there will always be a need.
I think that there will always be a need. I don't think there will ever come a time where there's not.
Okay. Pause. So, there will always be a need for it. I think there'll always be a need. Waste of time. All you needed was there'll always be a need for it, and then she says, I don't think there'll ever be a time when we don't. Here's the thing, though. Eddie had a really difficult story. Few stories are as sad as children that are harmed. And you did a really nice job taking officials and making them human beings. That is a lot harder to do than this other stuff I'm talking about. So, Eddie, if you can do that, it's time to step up and do the other little stuff because you've got the big stuff, okay? All right. Next.
Study done by Johns Hopkins University in 2022. Each day, an average of 132 people died from gun violence. 1 death every 11 minminutes. If it happened to
Pause.
you, would you know what to do?
Pause. At what, 4:40? 4:55, I told Diane. I'd read his story a couple of times. And I said, what's your source? He said, Sandy Hook something. Now, you guys follow the news. There's all kinds of drama surrounding all that. No, we remember what we learned in information gathering about where we get our data? .govs, but you still verify. .edus. We're real careful, never a .com, because it's going to be proprietary. You can use it to lead you other places. And .orgs, yeah. So at 4:55, I said, I'm not trusting this. I wish my gut had alerted earlier. It didn't, but it eventually does. And when it does, there's no wrong time to do the right thing. The right thing was to either dump that stat or to get one that worked. So moving forward, you know, .edus, .govs, and verify. If it is a .org or something, I need to know in advance, and I would just tell you to go ahead and see if you can find it somewhere else. And Ian did a great job of that. He found a study from Johns Hopkins. And it was much less, this stat was just, I didn't believe it. I didn't believe it, and I still don't believe it. And sometimes when things don't pass your smell test, and you guys, your smeller is not, you haven't had years and years and years to be fooled, tricked, and stuff, it develops over time, okay? So you're not going to know that now. But if you ever feel something, if your spidey sense tingles, all you have to do is go, what is the harm that could be done? Reputational damage or damage to our profession against what will people miss if we don't have this? And every time you weigh that, this is going to be a whole lot more important than this. Okay, so just remember that. Okay, let's roll. Good job getting that.
Next Tuesday, March 18th, people in Jackson County will have a chance to learn that. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office is hosting an active shooter preparedness awareness event at the Jefferson Church. Reporter Ion Bakley is live with me in the studio with the details.
It's difficult to forget this. September 4th, when a gunman took 4 lives in a school shooting at Appalachia High School.
Nice job looking at including the audience and him. Why didn't you keep reading?
Because I was waiting, because I thought the people would come on quicker than it did.
Don't ever wait. You're the talent. It's our job to follow you. When you're the talent, our job to follow you. Okay, keep going.
Messages of hope from students from On the Wall, bringing a community together, signs and messages with the love and prevail. Since then, we've seen a move for people to prepare for such horrific events. Lieutenant Michael Boatwright with the Jackson County Sheriff's Office also has a 3-word model that he uses to teach people: avoid, deny, and defend. And it worked for one organization that he taught.
They used the plan, right?
You can go through this, go through the soundbite.
Organization and follow the steps. And
Your spidey senses, don't fight it, and look for your nearest exit. Second up, we have denial. When denying entry, try looking
We
for
skipped that, but we went back. That was our fault.
If the door doesn't have a lock, use your
Okay,
surroundings to verify.
let's pause on this.
Go right.
I'm bored with that one word. Is it just me? No. Am I just some Gen Z? No. What might we have done?
Put them back on the camera after they show the word.
Can we do both?
Yeah.
Can we, instead of having just people or this full page? Oh, see, I thought, and this is a communication issue, when I'm proofing this and he had those meanings, I thought it was going to be defend in big letters and then the meaning would be out there. It's okay that it wasn't. I didn't clarify that and you didn't clarify it to me, and that stuff happens. But what would have been good was to have gone back to him full page, maybe had the graphics beside him come up, defend, deny, and then he could talk about them. And we'd have a human being to relate to. So again, that's something for us all to learn. Yes?
So I know me and Alana actually talked to Andrew about that. So with the recorder, with the shot that's there on the desk, he said that one of our heads would be cut off, and so the graphic would look weird.
That was if we had the graphic in between you. That's something that the producer has to push for. We can do whatever we want. We just have to be clear about it. So don't worry about that. All right, let's keep going. What in the world? Oh, okay. That's really weird. All right. Holly Kate. Okay. Both of you, nice job. Looked at each other, included the audience. Very well done.
One local organization is supporting survivors of sexual
Okay.
assault and working to produce
We know, associate producers. Associate producers. Associate producers. Part of your job is to, you have your list, you have your rundown, and it's about, are all the tapes in? Make that your job. Producers are by nature, and all of you have got this to some degree, people that don't ask for help. They do everything themselves, and then stuff falls everywhere because it isn't possible. So try delegate, delegate, delegate. And I think you did a fair job of that today. But moving forward, associate producers, don't have anybody have to ask you, are all the tapes in? And the other thing is, check all the graphics. Do we have all the right graphics in? So, yeah, because we shouldn't have had that. Okay, keep going.
Fashion show is happening on March 20th,
Okay.
bringing spring fashion and a powerful cause together. Reporter Holly Kate O'Brien tells us more.
This may look like a regular fashion show with models strutting their spring line fashion.
Good video referencing with photos.
Fashion show hosted by the Athens Clarke County Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners.
Okay, pause. Girl, when you say sexual assault, don't.
I just said it so many
I know you have. Well, it happens once every 68 seconds. Why wouldn't you? I will never forget that stat. Keep going.
Raising funds for sexual assault survivors and reducing the stigma of sexual assault in general. Last year, models brought their own personalities to the runway, turning the event into something bigger than anyone expected.
We had a transition where they were really putting their personalities into it, and they were bantering on social media and having percentage nights.
This year, the event takes place at South Main Brewing on March 27th, with local boutiques sponsoring and providing the fashion for the models to wear on the runway.
This is great video referencing. DeAndre, what do you think? What do you like about it?
I like the photos, actually. I didn't know. I wanted to know. I like the photos.
Yeah, she did a terrific job saying it's taking place at the brewing company. It's blah, blah, blah. I want you all to think, though, with this, Holly Kate, you had a struggle because sexual assault victims, but fun. That line is tough. More experience will help you with that. I thought you did a wonderful job with this, though. I really do. All right, keep going.
That was reporter Holly Kate O'Brien. Thanks, Holly Kate. Here's someone to celebrate in Georgia. Meet Laura Etheridge, the State School Social Worker of the Year for Georgia. The School Social Workers Association of Georgia gave her the award for her efforts.
Okay, pause. Do you just not like her? I know. That's because you can get a chance to read your script, right?
No, I read it, but
Generally, if somebody wins an award,
she won an award, but I don't know.
well, chances are, A1 Anna, with your talent, you meet a lot of people and you're not going to know them.
I also didn't know the context. Like, I didn't know, like, I read the script, but I kind of just felt like I was just like, I mean, it is what I thought it was, just like kind of like clipping. But I didn't know if she was going to tie into something or so.
Doesn't matter. She won an award. And it's kind of an important award, right? And it's nice when people win awards, right? We don't have to like congratulate them to death, but we can smile, right?
Maybe I smiled later.
Okay. Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Ferociously for students and families facing language barriers and cultural challenges. With a background as
Congratulations.
a school social worker, her work includes coordinating the Feeding Pharaoh program and addressing human trafficking policies. A proud double dog from the University of Georgia, Etheridge is currently a doctoral candidate at the University of Kentucky, specializing in trauma-informed schools.
Okay. Nothing. Just again, we've got to get the scripts to them so that they can go over things like, hey, what tone, what would work here? I know. I feel you. Okay, keep going.
Public safety and transportation issues due to population.
Okay, we don't know why he's there. We're not going to. Yeah, I know. I know. And you were fine. Nobody told you what to do. Better, it's all good. Okay, time out. Ian did the right thing. In the absence of any information, do nothing. He didn't talk. He didn't go, we didn't hear Mike going, what should I do? I'm looking to do something next. No, I was yeah. Somebody, okay, hey y'all. So now we're going to look at Ms. Pagenkoff's. Now Aaron and I had to have a little conversation. This was your first governmental meeting, right? Like ever in your life. So governmental meetings, what? Gotcha, yeah, cut me off. Goodbye. So long. It's going to be continued, though, for about 2 minutes. Auf Wiedersehen. Thanks for watching. Yes. Okay. What happened?